Manni and Anna, welcome to the show. Manni, of course, is the chairman, and Anna, the CEO of 1080 Motion. It is my first time with a couple recording this on this podcast, which you all are. Also, my first time with this lovely setting you have in the outdoors and such. So, looking forward to this episode. But we'll start with the origin story, as we always like to. So, Manni, Anna, whoever would like to go first, walk me through your journey of setting up 1080 Motion. What brought the two of you together on this project?
Okay, maybe I start then. The reason we are here, both of us, is because I used to be a tennis player, played again a lot as a senior player. I was injured, had both hips surgery, and was rehabilitated by a tennis coach in Stockholm. And he actually worked with the 1080. At that time, they had another name. It was an innovation from two entrepreneurs, one tech guy and one decathlete, and they had, as so many startups have, problems with getting financing and getting to get people understand what they were doing, because hardware software at that time was not accepted or was not on the market yet. So and I was involved in another team, and we simply took over the company. We formed a new company, named it 1080 Motion, because of 360 times 3 in functional training, and started promoting and had the strategy from the first day, I would say, to get to the elite market first, because that's where everyone is looking when they want to train or rehabilitate, to make proof of concept, and after that address the much larger rehabilitation market. So that's the short story, or quite long actually, of the foundation of 1080 Motion. We were at that time 5 people, founding partners, I think. So so we're a good team, where I think you and I, Manny, brought business ship, or that's entrepreneurship to the table, while there were other physiotherapists, coaches, engineers, programmers also available at that time already. But obviously the 3 first year was not easy, but then it took off.
Maybe we should say something about our background. I was in software
Please.
since the beginning of the 80s, and co-founded the company, which became very, very big and listed in Stockholm, bought out from the stock market, and now is still very active. And the latest transaction was done on a valuation of 10 billion euros. So one of Europe's bigger software companies, actually. And after that, we've done some things together and some things on our own, like coached founders of startups and things like that, invested in small companies.
Yeah, and I also have a background as an entrepreneur, from the customer service side, so that's what I bring to the table, which was also successful.
Talk about a power couple then. I have to ask, so how, let's say, how long were you married, or how long were you together before this particular company came together till 1080 Motion was born?
30 years, I think, before, and now we've been there 1080 for 10 years. So.
And still together, huh?
So again, lots that people from this episode will be able to learn as entrepreneurs, as personal goals, shall we say. So I'll be listening very keenly. Obviously, it sounds like the problem that you were solving was a very personal one. Anna, you mentioned that it was reflecting from your own career as an athlete. So maybe for somebody who doesn't know what 1080 Motion does, can you please tell us what exactly is the problem that you solve, and how do you solve it?
Would you take that, Manny?
Yeah, well, actually, basically we started with elite athletes, and they need to get faster, stronger, but faster is the most important thing, because all sports is about speed. So That's the overall thing. But what we do, we have an electric motor, and it's basically a cable machine. So and the weight stack is replaced by the electric motor, which means we can control the load and speed independently in the concentric and eccentric phase. So we're not, not bound how the normal weights would behave. It can behave like a normal weight, but it can also behave in other ways. And easy to understand. We can do eccentric overload because we control the eccentric and concentric phase independently. We can do isokinetic training and testing, and we can do high speed explosive movements, which is obviously very important for sports as well, not only strength. You have to be able to produce force at high speed, since that's what it's all about. And at the same time, we measure everything, and the athlete or the coach will see exactly what's going on in every rep, so you can get the instant feedback from what you produce in terms of speed or force or whatever you choose to follow.
So actually, the coach is backing up what they see with their eye, with data, and they can instantly change any action or any rep they are doing if they see this is not working well. So then they adapt and they adjust to the athlete's needs. So it means no rep is wasted, I would say, and it's very effective. And I think we have worked in parallel with science to prove that it creates results. Because when you come with a new product with hardware and software like we have, we also of course has to prove that it works. And it's also, when we are selling, it's the management who has the budget. The coach, it starts with the coach. The coach wants it, and then apply for budgets, obviously. So the management must believe in it, and then the athlete, they must like to run in it or make reps in it or whatever they do. So the smoothness and the feel in the line, I think that's where we distinguish ourselves from the rest. It feels very, very smooth, and they feel it's safe, it's efficient, and it's fun, particularly.
And at the end, I guess you also produce results, no? Because that's what the athlete, at
Absolutely.
the end of the day, that's what they're interested in. I mean, they might feel comfortable in a particular device that they're using, but if it's leading to a better performance on their field or in their sport, then maybe it's not so interesting for them long term. So essentially, you have a suite of maybe a few different products that help athletes with different types of training, resistance training. It's a combination of hardware and software that is right now at least available for elite athletes. So it's installed at their training facilities. Speaking of elite athletes and some of the organizations that you work with, maybe you can name a few of those and walk us through some success stories, because a quick look at your website and that scroll is never ending. You've obviously, as you found in your relationship, I think you found some success in your business as well. So maybe tell us some examples or live use cases where 1080 Motion has been installed.
I think first of all, it started with the track and field coaches, because they're always looking for that competitive edge, that advantage that they can have, and they are winning with 1 millimeter or something like that. So they really need that extra to help their athletes. And obviously we are working with most, I would say, Olympic track and field teams: Jamaica, US, England, France, Switzerland, Italy, Netherlands, which are all creating great results. So that's for sure. And then ice hockey, the most, I would say, NHL teams in the US have our equipment. The NFL, a lot of them have our equipment. The French rugby pro teams, almost everyone has it, and they also make good case studies for us, which you can actually tell about. And then there is all these, now the soccer is coming very strongly, not only the federations but also the pro teams, and they are more reluctant to allow us to sell who they are, but we have strong presence in the Premier League, Bundesliga, La Liga, and now the Serie A, and so it's getting more and more accepted. And I think also since they see that this creates results, the players get faster and they like it. Obviously, it spreads, the word spreads. So I think.
Do you follow football, Ron?
Yeah, of course I do.
You,
Favorite team is
no.
Manchester United. I hope they're using your product, but maybe it's not showing on the pitch yet.
No, I'm just, if you look at the match 20 years ago or even 10 years ago, you see the difference, how much faster the game has
Yeah,
become. So
yeah.
it's, the players are getting faster, and I think faster players also get, more attention, and they get more important roles in the game. So it's about speed, really, a lot.
But
Absolutely.
Ron,
And
you
I think
said
that's
you
a really
want. Yeah, you wanted some names. We can say Detroit Red Wings, LA Kings, New York Rangers, Red Bull Leipzig, Salzburg. Sorry, all those
no,
are
appreciate
included.
it, Anna. You already mentioned the league itself, and you're saying it's available in most of these leagues. So then
Yeah,
we can only imagine the teams that it is available. And to your point, Manny, I think you're spot on. I think there is sometimes a debate about what kind of football is preferred. Has modern football is, the football of the 80s and 90s and even 2000s a bit better than modern football? And everybody has their own preferences, but I don't think there is much argument to say that modern football is sharper, quicker, the athletes are fitter. They
Yeah,
run, they maybe as a collective, they run more. Some individuals might be doing more work at different points in time, but as a collective, and the
yeah,
numbers speak to that. So if that is the trend, how it's going, then of course solutions like yours become more and more important to gain that, as you said, on a slight
yeah.
margin, because it's zero point 0.1 of a second or 1 inch that can make all the difference, right? Um, Let me take you back to perhaps your own career, Anna, as a professional athlete, or even 10 years ago, for the birth of the company. How have you seen the evolution of, let's say, the readiness of your buyer, the readiness of the coaches? Maybe initially were they a bit doubtful, and now everybody just wants it? Have you seen that kind of change, or do you still have? Maybe there are some early adopters and others are still reluctant to use solutions like this. Just walk me through, because again, through your own career and for now a decade of selling this product or selling your services, how have you seen that evolve? And maybe also talk a little bit about how you're seeing it going in the future, that trend.
Yeah, I think time has worked for us because we have all these Apple watches, we measure everything, and I think that also works for us because we measure everything in our software. So, and also I think also it depends. The early adopters obviously are the track and field coaches. Ice hockey has been also early adopters. And on the other side, late adopters, I think that's a physiotherapist with a lot of conservatism and maybe not educated in the tech business, so to say. And that's a challenge for us. But nowadays, I think also we have like 1,300 machines out there all over the world. So, and think we have got a lot of content from our customers on social media, which helps because they see this one is having it. Why don't we? They can trust that this product is working. And but of course, it's been a journey. And in the beginning, we really have to educate, and still, education is a big part of selling, I would say. And you're not so I think and we always trying to help the customer or the coaches, and we have that motto in our company. We want to be the coach's best friend because the athletes, they are famous, they earn a lot of money, and the coaches has to be on their toes all the time to serve, to be there, to support, and we are there to support the coaches. And I think it's been a journey, and it's getting better and better and better.
I think also actually, from quite early, we identified, as Anna says, the coach. And the coach, a typical coach where the money is a professional team sports, really. And they have to handle maybe 10, 20 players. So for them, it has to be simple, fast, fast setup, all of these things. So we have moved the product to be more easy to access, easier to start. Everything has
User there.
yeah.
Yeah.
While some other sports like track and field, if you coach world-class sprinters, they have maybe 2-3 athletes that they are working with, so they have a lot more time and they can tend to more details of stuff. But team sport coaches don't have that time. It has to be really, really fast and easy for them. So
Did
we
you
worked a lot on that as well, which makes it more accessible, basically.
Sure. Did you identify that right at the beginning when you were initially going to market with the product, that it is the coach that is the main buyer, or did you find other avenues? I guess I will lead to my follow-up question, if you can cover that as well, is was that a big challenge for you about how do you get this out to the market, getting that
Yes,
coach buy-in and
yes, but we believed early on that good coaches, they know other good coaches. So
right.
if they're satisfied with the product, they will tell others, even though they will not really shoot out that oh, this is working so well, because they have this competition between each other. But still, the word spreads, and I think we've been very actually strict on our strategy. So it only took a little bit longer than we thought from the beginning. But it has worked well. And I think also the team we have, they already had contact in that field, so they can talk to their colleagues or,
Alumni.
alumni from education
Sure.
and university. And that's how it spreads actually from the beginning.
It was very slow.
Very, very slow in the beginning, but now it's not so slow anymore. Now we're growing very fast, actually. Yeah.
I can imagine we've seen this trend certainly with the performance focused products. It is the coach that needs to get the buy-in, and they really need to see the value. And of course, once that value translates to performance on the pitch or the field of play, then all the coaches want to know what are they doing, what is
Yeah.
that team doing that's a bit better, and then
Exactly.
they start implementing that. So the results speak for themselves, the numbers speak for themselves. As you said, over 1,300 installations and so many teams that you're working with. Annie, I'll throw to you, and also Anna, I want to hear your perspective on this. But I mean, I'm looking at two seemingly very successful entrepreneurs. This is a company that you've built, which is growing very quickly, and also previous ones that you all have built. Maybe you can share some advice that you've received in the past that has certainly helped you on your journey. Maybe one or two bits of what you would consider the best pieces of advice that you've received.
I think I will be spoiled too. I think, of course,
We'll give it a shot
because
anyways.
we have a very long experience from growing companies and all that, and we got a lot of advice during but I think I saw that you might bring this question up, and we talked about it, and I say I think maybe we haven't taken that much advice from others, actually.
Okay.
Especially in this case with 1080, I think we know how to run the business, and sometimes we have some issues with our other co-founders and experts, so to speak, because they would have probably their own perspective rather than the business perspective. So typically they would want to get into details, make things more complicated. And we were always trying to make it simpler, as I tried to say before, make it available for not only the real experts, but also for regular culture, so to speak, So I don't know. We couldn't find any specific advice on this journey.
No.
Actually, rather no advice.
No, I think the team is everything, obviously, and to have this broad experience from different backgrounds and respect each other, I think it's key for success. And I think and understanding the concept of entrepreneurship, that we have to make money to grow, to hire more people, to hire better people, to make them stay. And is interconnected in each other. It's engineering, it's software, it's coaching, it's athleticism. It's a lot of things that has to work together. And I think in a team, you have to be respectful to all these competences. And that's how we evolve. I think that's, if there is one advice I have got, is that it's about people. Hire the right people, and even if you think this person is super good but maybe not that good, then you should stay away. That's a good advice, because that's I think it's the hardest, most difficult part in a company that's growing, to find the right people.
Absolutely. Manni, to your point, maybe it wasn't advice that you got externally, but certainly it sounds like the ability to trust your own instinct is important. But I think that one gets said a lot, but trust your instinct with clarity. You know exactly what you want, and then to be able to deliver on that. And to your point, I could not agree more. I've said this in the past also, was one of the best pieces of advice that I got from an early investor in one of my previous companies, was that your people are more important than your clients. If you take care of your people, they will take care of everything for you, including you.
Exactly.
You know,
Yeah.
if you take care of them, they will take care of your clients, they'll take care of you, they'll take care of your P&L, they'll take care of all of it. So treat your people as best you can. Fantastic. Okay, so a couple of really bits of important advice. Appreciate you sharing that. We've covered a little bit about where the company is right now and all the great stuff that you're doing. Can you talk to us a little bit about where you're going? You mentioned, for example, that the products are currently for the elite athletes. Maybe is there a type of product that is coming down the pyramid for different types of athletes, or semi-professional, recreational, whatever you want to call them? Are there other newer products for elite athletes? I guess, are you going deeper into that vertical or horizontal? Like what's coming up for 1080 Motion over the next, let's say, 12 to 18 months?
Yeah, I think what is the elite sports is still, it's quite a small market really.
Mm-hmm.
And our equipment has a relatively high price, so there is a limit to how far down you can go in that system, so to speak, in sports. Still, we have a lot to do, and we are far from in every team. And I think in the US there's like 220 teams in elite sports, so there's a lot.
Yeah.
But the interesting,
and that's not even counting the college teams, of course, right? Because over there, college athletics is as good as elite in some ways, especially with the way the quality of athletes you get. Sorry, go ahead.
American football, high school,
Yeah.
Some of those have stadiums with 10, 20,000 spectators, and they show the games on the local television and all that. So, but anyway, I think the really interesting market for the future is rehabilitation. And it's much bigger, and the advantages are there as well. I think that we see already, like in Switzerland, that the insurance companies and the social welfare systems paying for the services of the rehab professionals, wanting to start to see, what's going on here. Do your patients get any better? So.
Do they get results as anyone?
Yep.
Yeah.
So they are starting now to say, if we're going to pay, you have to show that the patients get better. So I think that plays in our favor, because you need to measure, you need to be able to show progression. I think that will come, and it's a challenge, because for coaches, they always want that extra edge. They will try anything, but as a professional physiotherapist, you're not basically allowed to try anything. You have to stay within science and all that. So it's a bigger step, and we are working to package the software to make it more, basically package the knowledge we have gained through these last 10 years on how to apply the different modes, like eccentric overload training, isokinetic training, and things like that are really valuable in a rehab setting.
And also working on protocols too. So it's super easy to use our software. And so there's a lot to do on our software side, obviously. So that's something that we're really working hard on. And then obviously we have also launched the cable machine, which we are now delivering in the next few months. So we are ramping up, I would say, all capacity for producing and delivering. So that's a challenge we have. But
Short term.
that's very short term.
Increase.
I'm the CEO. That's obvious.
Somebody's got to execute and somebody's got to think long term. Both have to happen simultaneously.
That's the
Fantastic.
challenge
Okay.
with hardware.
Oh, yeah.
If you're doing software and you can deliver any amount of licenses, it doesn't matter any amount of clients on your cloud
Yeah.
service. But when you have to deliver machines or cars or whatever, it's it's more of a challenge actually.
Yeah, for sure. As well with the new fund Match Ventures, we have a few hardware companies in our portfolio. So yes, the challenges are quite different. Fantastic. Okay, so we've got a bit of the picture of what's coming up. I actually I find the angle quite interesting to get into rehab. It's part of a couple of macro trends that we've covered. One is, we say that democratization of tech. It's a very often used kind of term, but in sport, the translation is basically equipment or services or facilities, whatever you want to call it, that are available for elite athletes are coming down the value chain. A very common, a simple example, a recent one, is a product called Hyperice, which some of our listeners might be familiar with, which produce massage guns and different sort of cryotherapies for elite athletes. And they have just launched a new shoe with Nike, which will include some of that technology in a shoe which will be available for. It'll be expensive, maybe $400-500 or whatever it is, maybe more. I don't remember the price, but it's available. You know, if you want to buy it in a store, you can do that. You don't have to spend thousands and thousands on those, cryo pants and stuff that athletes use. You don't maybe need also a solution that is so advanced. Just something around your foot will help you in a moment. So that's just one example of that democratization of tech. And on the other side, it's also feeding into another trend, which is how health or sports tech and sports and health tech can come under, let's say sports can move into more health tech. So it can come under insurance and can be used for a wider set of users. And then the payment process also and the customer adoption is very different. The regulations are much more strict and you have to, let's say, prove the product a lot more. But if you can do it, then of course it's a much, much bigger market. So super interesting that you're operating kind of on the edge of both these areas. And great to hear about all the great stuff that 1080 Motion is up to. If there is a call to action, shall we say, that you want to put out to our listeners, maybe you have a funding round, maybe you're opening in new geographies and you're looking for resellers, or just would like to connect with new people, what would that be? And what is the best way for people to reach out to you? Maybe LinkedIn or email?
Yeah, we are very available, accessible, I would say. They can always call, reach out on social media or email, or we are answering. And we have both. We sell directly and we sell through resellers and distributors. And we sell through distributors on markets we don't really are familiar with, like China or India or Japan. We have a very good reseller in France. We don't know that market. And so we are actually we are selling directly and through distributors. It depends on what market it is. So
fair. If anybody thinks
we treat every market as it's next door. Actually,
which makes sense. So everybody, I guess, wants to reach out to Anna, to the team, to become a reseller for 1080 Motion, or you think that you can contribute? They seem to be quite open to listen. Fantastic. Anna, Manni, thank you so much for taking the time to join me for this little conversation. I know I've taken away a lot. I hope our listeners and our viewers as well, because people who are perhaps watching this will do the same. Before I let you go, I have one last question to ask, which is my favorite one to end the episode on. I like to believe we're all sports fans first. So I'd like to know from both of you separately, what has been your favorite sporting moment? Anna, might be from your career as an athlete or just as a fan. I'll leave it up to you.
I have, maybe it's one happening and one feeling, and that was when I was 15 years old and won the Kalle Anka Cup, which is the Next Generation Cup, which is the national Swedish championships, coming from losing first round 2 years before, That's a moment I remember.
Wow.
But the feeling of a backhand down the line on a sunny clay court, that beats almost everything. And then go back and watch Wimbledon or something like that. That's my favorite.
Fantastic.
For me, it's
And Manni?
skiing.
Yeah.
And we're going to the Olympics. We're going to one of the finals evenings in track and field. 200
Brilliant.
meter men, 110 meter women, I think.
200 meter.
No, men, and then 200 meter men, yeah. So that would be interesting because most of those people competing in the finals are our customers. They use our machines. So that's going to be great.
That's the
And
cool
what's
part
your,
about.
Ron, what's yours? What's yours?
Oh, well, I don't think I've done over 200 episodes. I don't think anybody's ever asked me for my own. I was never, let's say, athlete at any significant level beyond the university, let's say. So I have nothing from there. But as a fan, yeah, a couple of standout moments for me are always in football, Manchester United fans. So of course, 1999, the Champions League final is unforgettable. Many people have spoken about that moment on this episode, so I have to go back to that one. And as an Indian cricket fan, because that's what I grew up watching and playing as well in the streets of India and all that, the 2011 World Cup, when MS Dhoni, captain and wicketkeeper, smashes the six over long on to win the trophy. That was a fantastic moment. I actually had the very good fortune of chatting on this podcast with the coach of that Cricket World Cup team, Gary Kirsten. He's an absolute legend in cricket. He was an elite former cricketer himself, represented South Africa for many, many years, holds a number of records. So he's an elite cricketer for South Africa, then came to India, became an elite coach, including a World Cup winning coach. And I've managed to chat with him about that moment. So I feel very blessed, which is why I say it's one of our favorite things. Like you, Manni, you get to go and watch customers win medals, which is pretty cool. And I get to speak with lovely people who work in the field that I love, which is sports. So thank you once again for taking the time. And we will put Anna's and Manni's contact notes in the show notes, so you feel free to reach out to them. Thank you once again for taking the time.
Thank you.
Thank you for having us, Ron. Thank you.
Thank you, Ron. Bye-bye. Bye.
Brilliant. That is another episode wrapped. Yeah, that was a fun one. My first time hosting a couple in a lovely setting as well. If you watch this episode, you'll see where they were sat. We had a really nice chat.
Swedish summer, Ron. Swedish summer. It's raining.
Swedish summer. It is a nice summer for sure in Europe. All right, guys. See you guys next week.
Bye-bye.
Bye.